everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Show Me Reptile Show podcast. We've got Scott and Micky back with us again, and we've got a very special guest this week. We have Alonna from Dragon Smart here with us this week. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
What's up, Alonna?
No.
How are things going down there? You're down in Tennessee, right?
Yes, I am. I am in McMinnville, Tennessee.
So are you guys getting invaded by cicadas as well?
I've had like 3 hit me today, so yeah, it's been...
Can we start this off? Because I've been being asked a lot at the stores. Please don't feed cicadas to your pet reptiles.
I've been asked that.
Don't do that.
I've had people ask me if they should collect them and give them to me to feed to my reptiles. Like, please don't. If I wanted to do that, there's thousands in the backyard. But no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, no. No, definitely not.
I walked under a tree this afternoon. I felt little like drops on me. I'm like, that's cicada pee. I'm getting peed on by cicadas. That's
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like, multiple times the last 2 days, I kept hearing it in the backyard and thinking like the lawn guy was here and there was a weed whacker going on, but it's legitimately just thousands of them singing to me.
Yeah.
That's how we're doing service today. I had to wear like safety glasses because they were like smacking me in the face. I was worried to get poked in the eye.
They'll run over to you, like run at you and hit you. I'm like, jeez.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly why I haven't been riding my motorcycle. They're everywhere out where I live, and I'm just not dealing with that because it's like getting pelted with golf balls.
Two of those on your visor and you wouldn't be able to see where you're going.
Bug guts everywhere.
Yeah, one actually like bit my ear earlier. Landed in my ear. I tried to grab it and it like stuck its little thing in my ear.
It's trying to
Boscus.
It's trying to get in your brain.
I know. It's like a brain bug from Sergeant Troopers.
It is crazy. Well, welcome, Alonna. We got our cicada talk out of the way for this week. But for those of you who don't know, she is quite famous in the bearded dragon world. Creates just some unbelievable dragons. Does a lot of great rescue work as well. What got you into reptiles to begin with, Alonna?
So I'm gonna be quite honest with you. When I first, started seeing like much reptiles, I honestly was afraid to death of them. And that's when I started working big chain pet store, and got to handle them a lot more. Then really got to really like them. Ended up getting a bearded dragon myself, and like these things are pretty cool. And I got to do things like bring in my own like greens and everything. I started like caring for the ones there. I started taking like breeding bugs and feeding them off to the store because we just didn't really have a lot to feed the reptiles that we had there. And I just started really, really, really liking them. And then I met someone there. There was a customer, and she bred bearded dragons, and I got one of her babies, and I just pretty much just started really liking them. I got 1, and then I got 2, then I got 3, and then they are pretty addicting, so now I got a whole store full, but got a lot.
So it was kind of dragons from the get-go then was the first thing you fell in love with.
Other reptiles and stuff too, but bearded dragons are just one of them things for me that I don't know. I just feel like it's just more of my kind of thing, but having a pet store, we do deal with a bunch of other types of animals and reptiles and stuff like that.
So you're working at a chain pet store and you were bringing food from home to take better care of them?
Yes, and I wrote my own little care guides for them because the ones that they did hand out wasn't a lot of things in it. It was kind of just dangerous, so I kind of wrote my own, and they left it there to have customers, read off of it and help them get, just safe supplies and not get things like heat rocks and things like that. Just a bunch of things that were unsafe.
Well, it's sad that you had to do that.
Didn't recommend the heat rocks.
No,
I have a couple of them that I'm going to give out later this year for Bonehead Awards that I ordered. Heat rocks. I'm going to spray paint them with gold and cut the cords off so they can't be used. But
you're right. Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah. It's sad that you were working at a pet store and had to do that, but that's awesome that you took that step and did it.
Yeah, it was something I just couldn't. I couldn't. There was a limit on how much you can feed them, like 4 bugs a day for each bearded dragon. I was like, that's not nearly enough. Especially they sent ones that were pretty small and skinny already, so they were just kind of just not doing so good, especially not getting much protein and stuff. So I ended up breeding them and bringing them there and bringing my own fresh greens because, I didn't want to do the freeze dried and stuff like that. They let me do it. I'm really surprised because it's a big chain pet store, but yeah.
We won't mention any names, but I bet it started with a P.
Yeah. And
So how long was it from the time that you went from having them as pets before you either made babies on accident or purposely decided you wanted to breed them?
So, I'd say about a couple years. And yeah, when I first started breeding, I kind of didn't start out the best way. Bred 2 leatherbacks and it made silkbacks. And I've learned a lot from that because when I first started, I looked up to somebody who, I thought, was, knowing how to do everything. And so I kind of followed them. And then I kind of did a lot more and more. I'm like, okay, well, this is not right. So now I kind of spread that information so that way it helps more people not to, make the same mistakes I did. Because I definitely made mistakes when I first started, but.
Yeah, but that's okay because, we all make mistakes. I've been teaching a lot of people about that lately. We all make mistakes, and that's just how we learn,
Yeah.
Speak for yourself.
Scott's perfect on the other hand.
That's how I learn.
Right.
So what was it like the first time that you saw eggs? Did you know exactly what to do with them, or did you have to go then research what you were going to do to incubate?
So yeah, I ended up getting I got one of those chicken incubators that was pretty good. And honestly, I've used them for like 5 years now, and I just actually upgraded me to get a big incubator. So it took me 5 years to actually get something that's really nice. But it's one of those like Hobovators, those styrofoam incubators that do eggs. It's worked for me like amazing. But I'm like, I have so many eggs now that I've took like 5 of those incubators, and I'm like, I think I just need to get one big system and just do that. But no, it's been pretty exciting. It never gets old. You get different pairings and stuff you've, never paired before, and all the babies end up looking so different. So it's something I definitely enjoy doing. It doesn't get old, that's for sure.
Yeah, but if you had to estimate how many babies per year are you making?
Let's see. At least a couple hundred. At least. It gets a little bit more and more now that I have more space, and then my name has gone around a lot more, so a lot more of our, babies do get sold and stuff like that. But yeah, at least I think last year we maybe did about, I'd say, last year might be up to about 300 and something, I believe.
Wow.
That's a lot of insects.
Yeah, so this year I've already gotten about 200 eggs so far. So
do you run into a lot of problems of deciding or trying to force yourself not to decide you want to keep holdbacks every year?
Yeah, it's kind of hard. It's really hard because like at my store I have like 30 something tanks that are all 4x2x2s in my store where people can come see like the parents, everything like that. But it's hard because I'll see one grow up and I'm like, oh, I really like that one, and then I like this one, and so right now I'm full and I'm already seeing some. I'm like, okay, I want to hold this one back. But we also do like to retire out breeders and not really breed them for a while. So we kind of do, kind of alternate, let them breed maybe for 1 to 3 years, and then we kind of, find them a home where they'll get a lot of attention and stuff like that, because we don't like to overbreed anything, and because them girls can have a lot of eggs, and it takes a toll on their body. So I kind of just like, all right, guys, she's did all what she can do, all that we want her to do anyways, and then they kind of find their homes. But yeah, I always have a hard time wanting to keep everything because I end up seeing all these different ones, and I'm like, oh, this one might be really cool and make good babies and stuff like that.
Yeah, I ran into the same thing in the first few years when I was making blue tongue skinks.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm gonna hold this one and this one and this one.
Yeah.
And so I don't need 87 breeders now. It's like,
yeah.
So Alonna, I know you deal a lot with rescuing dragons. I watch all the work you do with rescuing dragons, and I have a problem, with breeding. I've been kind of having an internal struggle with it. I was going to ask if you have that too. Seeing how some people treat the dragons. Like I have a hard time wanting to produce animals and seeing how people treat them, once they leave your care.
Right, and so like the big thing, no matter with our rescues and breeding them, we always like to see their setups and everything before we ship them off. I know people can lie, but for my conscience, I do like to ask whether I get to sell them on Morph Market or my website or through any other way. I always ask people, like, you mind if I see your setup? Because UVB is a big important thing. I mean, overall, it's a big important thing to me, but UVB is so important because that is the number one problems with a lot of reptiles, especially bearded dragons. That's a lot of our cases that we get in. So no matter what, I always make sure that it's all good, because when I first started when I first started doing all this, my biggest thing was to breed, and then I have a big thing for like wanting to, rescue animals and, try to bring them back to life if I can. So I kind of added that because I have so much space in my store. We have a second story, like in the basement, that we have a room dedicated just to rescue reptiles. So got about like 40, 50 tanks down there, but we do have a lot of help. But yeah, it is a big thing. I get asked a lot. People say, why do you want to breed when there's rescues out there that need help? And like, yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. But some people don't truly know. A lot of rescues just take a lot of special care, and some people, may want to start out as a good, healthy baby and not want to go through too much of a heartbreak or too much of like just specific care. And then you get people that want to do extra for that animal, which is great as well.
Yeah, I know sometimes, because we do take in a lot of rescues at the stores and stuff, and sometimes it just makes me not even want to sell people animals, because no matter how much education we try to give them and stuff, it's just like, short of going and setting their animals up for them at their house and doing all the maintenance for them every day.
Yeah.
It's hard to just trust that they're taking care of them.
Yeah. It's pretty rough, because a lot of the
Well, and
ones
also too, the long life of these things is a big issue as well.
Yeah. Like this morning, we took about 5 animals to the vet, and we try to do that pretty often because the vet trust is not super close. So we try to round them all up and get the ones that need help. Like this morning, we had about 5 animals, and they're pretty rough state. Really are.
Yeah, I saw some of the pictures and videos on your Facebook are just heartbreaking. But
yeah, her and her husband
nice.
and staff are out there doing the Lord's work with the bearded dragons.
It's hard. There's a lot of tears in that. It's a hard thing to deal with. It's very hard.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, sadly, especially when somebody buys them for a child, or somebody gets them as a beginner, and they just don't understand the importance of the UV, or just even knowing how many times you're going to have to swap out that UV bulb. The expense isn't figured in, or just because it's still shining light in 2 years, it should still be good, right?
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. Without dropping money, you're not going to know the effectiveness of that light unless you just make a consistent pattern of swapping it out.
Right. Things they have it's not really accurate enough. And solar meters itself bought $250. I mean, I'm obviously going to get it because I recommend everybody to get one just to be safe for reptiles. I have reptiles in my store, but yeah, because you can have a UVB bulb that say they last about up to a year, and I protect it like months, starting to be lower than good. So every month we like to pages to make sure that they're should be strong as they for that.
Yeah, and you can kind of start to tell whenever a bearded dragon's UVB or any animal's UVB is starting to go down, because they start acting different, and you can visually see the animal. Like a lot of times with the dragons I've seen, they start to get darker.
Yeah,
they're trying to absorb more UVB. Yeah,
for sure.
That's always a huge one.
My favorite's always the people that buy the plant lights. Like, oh, it says full spectrum light.
Yes.
So it's full spectrum. It's got everything.
Yes.
Like, yes. Not how that works.
No. Definitely not.
I also wish I could buy UVB bulbs for that cheap, but
I know. Yeah. That does not happen. They're expensive.
Yeah, me too.
It turns a lot of people away because they see them like, well, I can go get this one online for $20. I'm like, that one is an off-brand one, pretty much, and it is not gonna be nowhere near as strong. There's knockoffs and stuff. I mean, you sometimes you may get what you pay for, but yeah, with UVB, you got to make sure it's the right one. If it's too cheap, sometimes you got to wonder, like, I don't know.
We always push the Arcadia, like it's the best in my opinion.
Yes.
I'll be a brand snob all day long. Arcadia for all my UVB animals.
Yeah, because we've tested all different brands with our solar meter because we have customers bring in their UVBs and we'll show them. We do free UVB testing, so we'll show them how weak it is, and people get so shocked. And I'm like, yeah, Arcadia is like blows like most of the things out of the water. It's the best that we've tested.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
it holds steady for a good 10 months before it really starts to decline.
Yeah, it's good.
So that leads in. That's a good question. Then, so somebody's coming in, and like you said, you want to know about their setup ahead of time. Tell anybody out there that's watching, if they're going to take home their first bearded dragon, what should the setup look like? Do you think for a typical baby? What should they set up? What brands should they trust? And about how much money should they be setting aside for their setup?
They're going to spend all the money.
Right. Yeah. Right. So I mean, I like a lot of different brands. Some things that I like with Zoomed, and there's some things that I don't. There's some things I like of ReptiZoo, and there's some things that I don't. But I do like a lot of ReptiZoo, and Zoomed's got a lot of great, great decoration stuff like that. For the set, they're big money. Well, after they're small. How small get like a 10,000 bearded dragon, and it's hard to get more side to regular temperatures and everything properly. But I just tell people, just save more money in the long run is get the biggest tank you can first. If all possible, you definitely want to make sure you have a good brand UVB. Arcadia being the best, and ReptiSun, if it's a T5, that one can be pretty good too. But the one thing with UVBs, you have to make sure it's the right strength. It goes by distance, how thick the screen is, and everything like that. But you want definitely UVB, you want heat. I recommend having it all on one side. That way they can get away from it if they have to. I do also like a couple hides in there, more on one on the warm side, one on the cool side. That way they have shaded areas in both. Now you can do like some leafy decorations. You could do safe live plants, or you can do, I will say the fake ones, a lot of them do try to eat it because they think it's real, and it's not, and it ends up in their poop, or they could get too much of it. But I'm a big advocate of like loose substrate. Now it's obviously got to be safe. Play sand and like maybe organic topsoil or eco earth or reptisoil. The reason why I like, and that's if you got everything on point. If you don't, then you may have problems. But if everything's right, the temperature's right, UVB's right, I like it because it's better on their joints. It's easier to clean. It's better with smell. It's enriching. That way they can dig no matter.
I gotta hook you up with some of our desert floor.
Yeah. Is it like desert floor? I think I've seen that before. Is it like what brand is it?
It's our brand.
Oh, you have your own brand?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to check it out then. I didn't know that. I'm big about that. All my adults, they're all on, loose. Of course, watching them and making things go up. Make sure your is good. Got some good climbing decorations. Like to climb. Just a lot of space, and you want to make sure you got a temperature gun because that's a really good way to check the basking temperature. Thermometers in the cage can kind of help with like the ambient temperature overall. Now, another big thing I see that happens, a lot of people make mistakes, is like dusting their bugs. Every bug that is fed should be dusted. And vitamins once a week. We have a dragon right now that his body is kind of like vibrates like a controller. It's kind of like very like twitchy. And that was due to not having the proper, supplements and stuff like that. His body was lacking it, so he ended up having the shakes, which he's getting better now. It's very important, dragon. But really the most expensive part is the setup, the lighting, and then depending on where you get the dragon from. And then the rest is kind of like changing out the substrate when it needs to be, or just cleaning up after them, getting them fresh greens, getting them bugs. And everything along those lines.
And what should somebody expect as far as diet goes? How often do you have to feed? What does the diet consist of?
So fresh greens should be offered every day, just because a lot of times that's where, and it should be watery. It's where they get a lot of their water intake from. A lot of times if you have a a dish. They may not understand. Bearded dragons don't understand like dogs about standing still water, so they don't think to go and drink it unless it's moving for the most part. But fresh greens daily, no matter if it's a baby or adult. We start our tiny hatchlings on greens, so that way they have no issue as an adult eating them. And then we do adults, feed them bugs about once a week. Obviously if they're a good weight and they're not underweight. So like a normal healthy bearded dragon, we like to do bugs once a week. Because once they hit adult size, they can get too big. We got a bearded dragon in that's 3 pounds. She's 1,200 grams, and she's going to be strictly greens for a good long time. And it's hard for them to lose that because their scales will still be saggy. It's hard for it to just kind of shrink back. So she'll have all this extra skin, but it takes a long time. It's not like humans. So right now she's just like trying to catch her breath because she can't really move too much right now. But so overfeeding adults is what I see a lot. So we do greens every day. Babies and adults. Adults gets bugs once a week, and then babies we do pretty much every day. Maybe like 8 to 10 bugs a day for the babies. They do eat a lot because they grow fast. You can also make them grow too fast, or you can make them not grow enough since their body needs more protein. So there's like a medium there, and really I like to base it off like their body, like what it looks like. If they're skinny, obviously they'll start eating a little bit more. If they're overweight, then they're gonna start eating a little bit less.
And what is it about the bearded dragons you think, personality wise, you think that's primarily what the biggest sell is and why they're so popular?
Yes, I have a lot of messages where people strictly want to get males because they head bob. I actually have had females head bob too. I mean, I do. I actually posted some videos about it. A lot of people want them because they get the really dark beard and they like head bob and stuff like that. So a lot of times people like the males because they're most of the time pretty active. Of course, they all have their own personality, but I get a lot of messages with males. And then, of course, females, some people steer away from there because they can have infertile eggs, so it scares people sometimes.
So now, do you keep anything else, just for yourself, or does it all beardies?
No, so my personal pets, obviously I do have bearded dragons. They're my personal pets that I won't do nothing with. I have crested geckos that I really like. I also have things like parrots, ones, I like to talk. And of course, your cats and dogs, stuff like that. But for the majority, those are like my pets. Now at our pet store, we have most of the things that you can think of that's like venomous or anything like that. I don't do all that, but like your ball pythons and like your tegus and a lot of other types of snakes and different geckos and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Now, which all of the Show Me shows do you do?
So I've done Chattanooga, and then Murfreesboro, and then Lebanon, Nashville. But me and my husband talking about actually branching out to do a little bit more. We've had some employees go with us to kind of get a feel for how we do it, so that way we can venture out and go to other shows. Because I get messages all the time saying, "Hey, are you going to the one in, like Georgia or this and that, like all these states?" And I mean, I am one person, so I can't, obviously make it to all, but I still like to get out there and just do more shows, get our name out there, and all that kind of stuff. Spread a bunch of knowledge about.
Where is your husband at? I like him. He's a nice guy.
I know. I told him to come in here. I guess I don't know. Maybe he's just kind of like, I don't know. I'm not really prepared. I don't know.
Maybe you guys need to make the trek and do Virginia Beach with us.
Yeah. I've been trying to see what type of shows we're wanting to do, because we're definitely wanting to travel out more than just Tennessee, because we do a lot of Tennessee shows. So.
Well, you want shows? We got locations.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can keep you busy every weekend if you need. We get you as far out as Boise, Idaho, if you want to go west. And...
Just everywhere. Yeah, that's crazy.
Plan a vacation around it.
Oh yeah, it's kind of cool, because I do get pretty good discounts at the hotel since my sister works at one, so it's pretty nice. I mean, it's kind of like a vacation at the same time. So I'm like, this, and I mean, I like doing the shows itself, so really I don't really consider it much as work. So
Yeah, especially if you have those good shows, you sell enough to cover the expenses. It's like a free little weekend vacation hanging out with reptile people. What could be bad about that?
Yeah, because I'm glad, like, at least if I break even, I mean, I still got my name around, because I have people messaging me, like, weeks afterwards and months and be like, hey, I saw you at the show, what do you have available, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's how I always looked at it when I vended, and that is that, even if you sell nothing for that day, if you talk to 20 people, somebody's going to contact you in the couple weeks after the show.
Yeah, it does work. It really does.
Yeah, for a lot of people too, like the sticker price sometimes kind of scares them at first, and that's what tends to get them to come back, do their research, save a little bit of money, and then do it right.
Yeah, because that's another thing we see a lot too. Yeah, they'll be like, well, this one at the store, they had it for like $50. I'm like, I can't do that. I can't do that. But then they come back and be like, hey, like, unfortunately, didn't make it. I'm gonna try to get one from like, a breeder. So
yeah, when you get it from a breeder, you get to talk to them, get the education, get all the right information, and come back to them later, get one that they produced versus get one at a big box store where they employs hourly and may or may not know anything about what he's talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I usually work in dog food, but here's your bearded dragon. I don't know.
Yeah.
Shit about fuck.
Yeah.
I think they live like 2 or 3 years. You stick a light over them and they're good.
Right.
Literally, that's what people think.
Let me show you our heat rock selection.
Yeah, let you cook your dragon to death. I've seen it happen. I've literally seen people like literally cook their dragons and their insides are.
They're from Arizona. I seen them in that movie Holes. Yeah, they live in Arizona. They're venomous.
Yeah. That's it.
These are all things heard at a local giant pet store.
Yep. Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
I worked at 2 of the big box stores. I've seen it all.
Yeah.
I didn't work there that long.
So Alonna, if somebody wanted to check out some of your babies or learn more about the rehabilitation work and stuff that you do, what's the best place to find you online?
So I'm on a lot of places actually. So we do have our website. One of the big social media platforms I'm on most of the time is Facebook. So we have a couple bearded dragon groups, one called Dragon Smart, the other one called Bearded Dragon Help and Advice. And then I have my main page called Dragon Smart. And a lot of our social media platforms, we have like our graphics of like our care guides and stuff like that with pictures, things they can have, things they can't. So just a bunch of information, pretty much anything you could ask about a bearded dragon, we have something for. And then we're also on Instagram, it's Dragon Smart on there as well. And then we have like TikTok as well too. So we have quite a variety of things you can reach us at. We also have, you look for us on Google, we have the pet store, and then we have our store number too, so then Facebook Messenger. So we have a lot of places where people can reach us. I'm sure if you type in like Dragon Smart in Google, a bunch of our social medias would pop up.
Awesome.
Or Show Me Reptile Show.
You said what?
Yes.
Or the Show Me Reptile Show.
That too. Yeah, that too.
I just really want to, thank you for all the time and effort that you put into educating people, because I'm watching you on Facebook and stuff, and I see you putting a lot of effort into educating people and doing the rescues and stuff. I know that is a ton of work. So I do appreciate you doing that, for your area, because it does make a huge difference what you're doing. So
yeah, even that, it's definitely rough. I get hate messages where it's like, hey, you need to put this thing down, or you can't put this thing down, and all that stuff. Like, I get put in the middle of a lot of situations, but I
always tell those people to go put themselves down. Go throw yourself in the freezer, asshole.
Yeah, I'm the one dealing with it. Like, trust me, I'm not going to let an animal live that I know for sure that is over here just suffering to death. And I kind of see, like, what they do and how they react to certain situations, so...
Well, it really grabs your heart because, like, I remember it was whenever I first opened the store a couple of years ago. A lady brought a bearded dragon in that had never had like a UVB fixture. She'd never given any kind of supplements, and this guy was just mangled. But he was so sweet, and he just wanted to live.
Yeah, you can tell. You really can tell. It's crazy.
and we brought him back to like the bat. He's never been good, you know,
Right.
but like he's still alive. I gave him to an older lady after I kind of got him to where the best he's gonna be, you know, with calcium and lighting and stuff. And I gave him to this lady, and he's still alive. But I mean, he's, you know, he was such a friendly dragon, and he just wanted to live so bad.
And see, that's my problem too, because not only do I like to keep holdbacks, I see some that I like to bond with so much, and like sometimes it's hard because you spend a lot of time with them, and then you know, they go off. I have one that came to us in a very bad state, and I'm like, okay, great. So I have her as in my store. Anybody can come see her, but like she's with me to stay forever. So it happens there too.
Yeah, it's hard. You put so much work into it, and they've been through so much challenge. The last thing you want to do is risk giving it to somebody that lets it go the other direction again.
I would be devastated, like so devastated. It'd be awful.
But that is awesome, though, when you can rehabilitate one and get it to a point that it's going to be able to be healthy as long as it's spoiled somewhere, and you find it the right home. Like nothing feels better than knowing it's like, hey, it's not just one of 40 now; it's one of one at that person's house, and it's going to be, you know, spoiled and treated great for the rest of its life.
Yeah, because I get a lot of updates on the ones that like rescues. They're like, hey, he's doing so good now. And I'm like, don't cry. Like, yay.
Yeah, it makes you really happy. It's like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, like, oh, thank God, because that dragon went through it all. Or reptile. Do more than destroy.
It's amazing how resilient some of them can be. I've had that with some of the blue-tongued skinks too, where, you know, at first you see them, it's like, oh man, its back legs don't want to work at all. This thing's never going to be okay. And then sometimes you get the nutrients in it, and you get it treated well, fed well for a couple of months, and it starts getting a little bit of movement back. And like you said, you just see that will to live in it. Yep. It's like, you know, this animal's not suffering. It's excited when somebody comes around. It's headed over to the food plate right away. It's like it's got the will to live. You gotta give it those chances.
Right, and like when I do like a lot of the Show Me shows and stuff, a lot of times, sometimes I like to take one that is don't obviously have nothing wrong with it that will spread to any other animals anywhere else, but just kind of have one to where the body may not look right, and kind of educate people on like letting you know, this is what happened due to incorrect lighting. Just kind of showing people, because some people don't believe it until they see it in person. That just, like, I had someone come in our store saying, my bearded dragon, she said, what happened to her? I said, well, she, didn't have the right UVB. And she goes, well, mine prefers it without UVB. And I'm like, that's not really how this works. It don't prefer without UVB. It needs UVB. And she ended up reading more about the story about the dragon that we took in. And she came in the next day. She goes, all right, get me hooked up. So some people got to see it in person before they really, it's even the pictures I post does not do it justice as it does in person. I will say that.
Yeah, well, if they have no experience with it, they're going to know, well, it hasn't had UVB for 3 months and it's fine. I'm like, yeah, well, eventually it won't be.
I can't stand it. But it is a very common thing. Well, my bearded dragon's been like this for 5 years. I don't know. Well, once it happens, it's not reversible. So it's, you can't.
I do think that people are becoming more educated, though, because we're getting a lot more people that are coming into the stores and the shows and stuff that are well informed. There's a lot more proper information going around than what there used to be.
Right.
And I think that, is coming from people like you that are out here teaching people. That's really all it takes.
And that's definitely one of my goals too, because this is being so common. I just share, and I'm trying to spread the word as much as I can, because it's a very serious thing. I don't want to ruin the whole hobby. Like, I want people to, because the more, reptiles are getting more and more and more popular, and more research is being done about them. So it's just very important to kind of stay up to date and kind of pay attention, because they live longer here than in captivity, because of a lot of the research that is being done, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
That's one of the biggest things. I think people, when they first get one, is how long they live.
Yeah, like as long as a dog. It's crazy.
Yeah, everyone, just gets it they see it as a beginner or first reptile, and then, don't realize it's going to live to 12, 15, 18, 20 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I just got a
you're going
message
to be
back
out
in.
of college and start a career before this thing is gone.
Yeah, one of the last people I was in contact with that I sold my bearded dragons to that I bred back in like high school. I got a message a couple years ago that just passed away. So that was cool to see that I made it like its full life. And I was kind of nervous to make it that long with that person, but he's like, yeah, just want to let you know, just passed away. But I mean, that was 2007. I think thing hatched out. So yeah.
Oh wow.
That was a long time ago, Scott.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't bred bearded dragons in a long time.
So we've got we got Knoxville coming up in 2 weeks, right?
Yep, Knoxville. Let's see, we've got Loveland, Colorado coming up that same weekend. Springfield, Missouri. There's something else. Well, we moved
Gadsden
this
weekend.
And Gadsden's this weekend.
Busy.
Yeah.
The Grovetown show we did push back. That one, the next dates in Grovetown will be in October.
Oh, Gadsden's not too far for you if you're not busy this weekend. The last minute sign up.
Where's that?
Gadsden, Alabama. It's like northern Alabama.
Oh yeah, that ain't that far.
Yeah.
It's about an hour past Chattanooga, hour and a half.
Oh wow, yeah, that ain't far. Chattanooga's only about an hour for me. So that ain't bad.
I gotta move that show back to the Chattanooga Convention Center. I need to call them and set that up.
Yeah, are you doing Knoxville?
Yeah, I am.
Alonna, are you gonna make it down to that one or no?
When is that?
The first weekend of June. Right? Yeah.
First weekend of June. I think I'll probably be out of town. I think for some kind of convention. Yeah.
Well, fine. Go to the next one.
Yeah, whatever.
Think about Virginia Beach. That show is incredible, and that makes a nice little vacation too.
Oh yeah.
Yep. It's August 3rd and 4th. Put it on your calendar.
All right.
Yeah, we'll
go. Micky, we added a few new locations recently, didn't we?
Oh geez, yeah. We got a couple new spots. We got Pensacola, Hickory, Colorado Springs. There's a couple more coming down the pipe in different parts of the country that I'm not going to talk about until they're announced. But yeah,
I think we can go like states though, right? Like I think you said one in Texas, right?
Yeah, there's Texas and then Nevada.
Okay.
Yeah.
See what Nevada show is.
We've been carefully looking at like schedules and everything like that because we're really mindful about like not intersecting with other shows and things like that whenever we put our schedules out. So we've been putting a lot more research and development into show locations. So I think we're actually working on something in Connecticut and New Jersey too. Atlantic City up in New Jersey.
Yeah, I got some feedback for some people up in Wisconsin last weekend, so I gave some location ideas to Julia up in the North Dakota and Minnesota and those types of areas.
Yeah, we don't need more shows in Wisconsin. There's a ton of them up there. We have one, but there are tons of them up there.
Apparently Minnesota is starving for shows, is what I've been told. So
I couldn't tell when we had that St. Paul show there.
I know.
I guess that $7 parking deterred everybody.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that'll do it. I mean,
I've never seen so many people complain like they've lost their child. They had to pay $7 for parking.
Yeah.
Any show we ever have that has paid parking is like that, though. No matter where it is.
Oh yeah, that's anywhere. So it's I need to go to Minnesota. I have not been up there in ever. I don't think. I think I went up there one time for a job when I was like 22 or 23, but it's been a while.
Yeah, one of my wife's besties lives up there, so I got to hang out with her, and she didn't when I went up there. So I was hoping to do that show again so I could bring her with me and they could all hang out, but we'll book another one up there.
Yeah, we just got to find another spot. I keep getting messages about shows up there. It's so funny because part of the internet complains that there's too many shows, and then like my inboxes are just full of questions about, hey, we need a show here, and they're places that make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just kind of drives me nuts because
it would me too. It's like you can't be happy. You can't make anybody happy these days.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
well,
it
I'm a
all
doer,
boils.
so I'm gonna be damned.
I think it all boils down to how good of a day the vendors had.
Yeah, some people just take it out on that and say, "Oh, I'm not doing that." It's like, oh, come on.
If the vendor didn't sell much today, then it's your fault, Micky, because there's too many damn shows in this city.
Put yourself out there.
I don't know. I've heard vendors bitch whenever they make $10,000. So at that point I just throw my hands up. I'm like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I hear complaints about shows. Was too many vendors, too few vendors. It's always a mess.
Yeah, the comments that we get sometimes that they come in, it's like, it was just so crowded I couldn't move, and then the next week it was like there was nobody here. It was really bad. It was too empty. It's like, okay, one or the other.
wow.
A lot of that just boils down to different areas. I see a lot of different things in different areas of the country, and it's just one of those it is what it is things. We do the best we can while we're there, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
Right, and totally depends on what time of day. I mean, if you showed up at 10:30 a.m., it might be absolutely swamped from 10:30 to noon, and an hour later it might be a completely different situation. So you can't really control the exact moment of everybody's experience.
No.
Well, I mean, I hate it when the vendors don't make a lot of money or whatever, but that's not why I started doing these shows. I started doing these shows to grow the industry and, try to help educate new people. So sorry you didn't sell all your shit.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Scott.
I was saying, the negativity as a whole, I think, is the biggest enemy of the hobby. Once these people get in a bad mood, it spreads. It comes a cancer at the shows, online, everything else, and everyone's kind of quick to attack each other or just find someone to blame and just pass it all on. I had a good conversation this morning with a vendor who kind of like attacked somebody in a group. It was like, this setup is disgusting, and I was like, bro, relax. Like, they tried to do something. They did a couple mistakes. Let's have, great job, but let's edit this or that. They had like a hammock in the enclosure, a little bit of reptile carpet in one little section. They tried to make a little like apartment look in their bearded dragon enclosure. And, it was a 7-foot long bearded dragon enclosure. Jeez. They decked it the hell out. So I'm like, they did an awesome job, but a couple husbandry things we could change. Everything else, they had the, T5 up there going. They had the heat lights going. Everything else looked great. Just a couple little things we could edit. And I'm like, let's pump the brakes and let's bring positivity in.
Yeah, people are so quick to judge where.
And he was very quick back. Yeah, it was 3 a.m. I was pissed. I just snapped. I was like, okay, well, let's not do 3 a.m. angry posts.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I do agree, though. I think the industry does need a lot more positivity.
Absolutely.
Not just around shows, just everywhere in general. I've been trying to talk to people about that for years because I really feel like we would attract more people to this hobby if they didn't hop on a Facebook group for ball pythons or whatever and see people talking crazy shit about each other.
Yeah, and a lot of this stuff ain't gonna happen, and it's a lot of times over the internet. You see this person, and like if you see them in person, they're all total opposite.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Keyboard warriors.
Yeah,
and I mean that's just gonna. Oh, go ahead, Brady.
No, I was gonna say I think some of it is just like it's easy if you just look at those groups to see all the negativity and not realize like each of those individual people needs to be handled differently. But if you're in like 4 different groups for care about one particular type of animal, 10 times a day you're going to see somebody be like, I got this snake at the show this weekend. What should I do to set it up? And like immediately the 10th time you see that, you're like, why do people keep buying this stuff without researching first? And it's like, so you can feed into that negativity and just like, you want to get angry at the people for not doing the research first, but like it's not going to do any good to anybody if you jump all over those people.
Well, it doesn't help the animal at all because then what happens is somebody's afraid to ask questions publicly, and
right. You jump them right off the bat on that, and they're going to jump out of that group and then just not pay any attention to it, and that animal's not going to get the care it needs.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or, I mean, almost as bad as someone is thinking about getting the animal, joins a couple groups to try to do research and get crowdsourcing of information, and they ask questions and just get negativity from them, like, well, why do I want anything to do with any of this?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get a puppy.
Right.
Yeah, like I'm done. It's like, look, they kind of worded it differently. It's once you have everything that you need, it's kind of just upkeep, like for the most part. So people do get scared off because people jump down their throats. So
Yeah, it is beautiful though that the internet has brought us so many different avenues, between YouTube channels and online care guides and the chance to speak to a breeder ahead of time. Most people, if you reach out with interest about animals that they sell, they will give you the time of day online before you go buy that animal, which is just beautiful.
Yeah.
I agree.
At the end of the day, just take good care of your animals, help educate others, and don't be a dick.
Exactly. Don't be a dick.
3 good rules to live by if you're in the industry.
Yeah, I agree.
That should be on our poster at the front door when you
It
walk
really
in.
should.
I'll get a sticker made that says "Don't be a dick" and put it on the bottom of the welcome.
Well, if we learn something in Arkansas, you can't display dicks or reference dicks, or you're gonna get in trouble. Not family friendly.
Oh yeah.
The 3D printed
Uh-huh.
penisaurs.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that might have been a real dinosaur. None of us were there. None of us know. There might have been a penisaurus running around.
Yeah, you don't know how the musculature attached those bones exactly.
Right. We might have thought we were thinking Brontosaurus is actually Penisaurus. I don't know.
So how are we looking shop wise? What's some news around the shops, Micky? I know Springfield's open and rolling now, full steam, right?
Yeah, Springfield's open and rolling. We're actually getting ready to start scheduling a lot of our classes. We've got a couple of classes that we're going to be scheduling here in the next week or two. Going to be working on the aquatic store, get that opened up, and St. Peter's is actually going to start expanding. So I'm just a glutton for punishment, but I got to finish a couple projects before I start a couple more. And then Marketplace is supposed to be launching. We'll see when that happens. It's supposed to happen tomorrow or the next day.
And we effectively almost doubled the size in Rhode Island too, right? Busting down walls there.
Yeah. Rhode Island, that whole situation actually turned out to be a blessing. I definitely turned some lemons into lemonade up there, and it's all positivity going on up there now. So super happy.
That's awesome, and we've picked up some great assets to the team lately. New coordinators, new staff at the stores. Just a lot of really positive vibe and responsible people that we needed.
Well, and yeah, we're working really hard on training people and just kind of structuring the company and just moving everything in a positive direction. So Scott's helping me train coordinators and do all that fun stuff. So we're giving everybody out at the shows the best experience that we can. So
gotta love training.
Yeah, nothing but a good time.
Unfortunately, we had a couple coordinators recently. Didn't need much training. I feel like Amy just kind of hopped into it and took off running.
Yeah, it's like throwing a fish out into the water.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
Took right off. Yep. So I think how many more coordinators do you think we need? 3, 4, 10?
I don't know. A bunch.
Yeah, at least a couple more. So if you're in the St. Louis area and interested in watching this, get hold of me or Micky.
Yeah.
The beauty of it now is we're more and more in a position where nobody has to go it alone, and we're sending multiple coordinators to each show, because trying to man the desk at the front and to take care of vendors and walk the floor and see that everything's going, it's an impossible task for one person.
Yeah, it's hard to really control the vibe when you're stuck at the front table, doing admissions.
Well, it's also hard, because we're going to start doing more educational stuff. Show Me Reptiles. We're going to start doing more educational stuff during the shows. That's going to be a coordinator thing. So you can't do that by yourself.
It's true.
It's definitely hard to manage a 2,000 to 3,000 people show whenever you're there by yourself. Like,
Yeah.
Been there, done that. Scott's been there, done that. Not fun.
Yeah.
Walk away and do education, and then there's like 43 people trying to pay at the front that just aren't getting attended to.
No, you can't walk away from the table. That's where all the money is.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll be gone along with all the merchandise.
The merch, the square reader, everything's gone. But all of a sudden, someone's buying a whole lot of shit off someone's table. You trade your bearded dragon for a square reader and 15 Show Me shirts.
Deal.
A quick reminder to everybody out there, if you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, make sure to do that. We are going to be, after next weekend, we'll be picking a winner of $250 cash prize. You do have to be subscribed to the YouTube channel, and that's where we're going to pull the winner from on that. We'll run that contest through the end of next weekend shows and pull that winner on Monday.
Yes, sir. Are we done?
I think we're just about wrapped up.
We're about that hour mark, so yeah.
We try to keep it under the hour, and we're getting pretty close to it. So, Alonna, thank you so much. Again, we appreciate everything you do as far as education, and of course for vending at our shows, and really for just being a quality person in the reptile world. We appreciate that, and thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, Alonna.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely,
We'll see you
thank you.
next time.
All right, deuces.
See you in Tennessee.